Nope, we'll go after this one. Thank you.
Okay. At 7:18, we'll call to order the General Government Public Safety Committee meeting. Attendance has already been taken. Any comments from citizens?
I had a citizen ask me about some trailers parked on the street, whether they're legal or not. Once he was asked about is on Barnes, right across from the Christian church, and then a block to the east, and I told him I did not know. So did you all have a chance to look at it?
So I've talked with Sandy, who's been here 900 years. And so
might not appreciate that.
she knows it. So what she said is the only thing that we've got, which is basically abandonment of a vehicle, which I think is 18-53 is the ordinance number. Where that's parked, or where they're actually both parked, is on the street side of the sidewalk. So I can only assume, and I don't know this for a fact, that any area between the sidewalk and the road is gonna be city-owned property.
Yeah, there's no curb and gutter there, so it's kind of hard to tell.
There's not, but I think it's, and I think it acts as a drainage ditch, if I looked at it correctly. But you got that one parked there, and there's big ruts in it, and that one, I didn't get out to look across the sidewalk, because I was parked right behind it, kind of, but I thought it looked like maybe a cord was running out, so I'm gonna check that tomorrow. Sandy said that particular one is a Monroe. I can't remember the first guy's name, but a lot of the trash and stuff, he appears to be moving. So that might resolve itself.
He has, I mean, if people have asked about certain residences, I know that this resident in particular has paid hundreds of dollars in this citation.
Yeah.
And I drove by the other day and it is getting better. Those trailers though are at night and everything else, I'm just surprised we didn't have.
So the next trailer up, that's, up the road, same side of the street, I think that one actually gets used probably yearly, I don't know. But it looks better taken care of, it's wrapped,
It's got the cover
got
on it.
cones
It sits right
out.
in front of the house.
Yeah, but it's still in the same spot as the other one.
It's on the right of the,
So, I mean,
trailway.
if you fall back to what the ordinance says, it says you shouldn't be leaving anything like that for more than 72 hours.
So there's two things here. We need to make sure that our ordinances are clear, so we're not at liability.
And I've got that here if you want to read it
Yeah,
yourself.
but I mean, we need to make sure it has city refill, because if we haven't covered it well enough, and somebody hits one of these trailers at night, God forbid it kill somebody in there, it's about the windshield where that hitch is, right? Or something, and it was on our right of way, and we knowingly had let it be there, and it'd be proven that it had been left there for 2, 3, 4, 5 years as a standard practice, that concerns me, because unfortunately in today's life that we live in, people are ready to,
And the only other thing that doesn't say, at least I don't remember it saying, is anything about trailers.
right.
Yeah.
It says vehicles, and if you look back up in there, about anything is defined as a vehicle. A trailer's a vehicle. It says, because I read it, tried to read it,
Uh-huh.
it says can be on the sidewalk, but it referred to vehicles, and if you look up there further up, trailers, trucks.
And
anything is a
maybe we need to go back and make sure it's very clearly defined that they're included in there.
You might add something about an easement, any easement that the city may have. Now, that says road, obstruct an alley, I mean, a couple things, but did you see anywhere where it said easements? Okay, yeah, so there might be a change where you say, you can't leave your property on easement.
One of the proposals that was brought up a couple meetings back was, had to be either on a concrete or gravel pad on the side of the house or something like that, as a proposal. But I mean, we need to look beyond just campers. If you go, I can't remember the name of the street where the cat house was that was demolished. Huh?
He's got a park out there.
There are several trailers parked on that street, and it's very difficult to get in and out. I've had a complaint about that, and that's the one I brought up a few meetings back. And those aren't campers, they look like work trailers. You head over here by the collision center and stuff over there and drive around over there, there's a lot of trailers that look like work trailers that haven't moved.
That are in the road.
Huh?
That are in the road.
Yeah, but they haven't moved for, they look like, I shouldn't say they haven't, they look like they haven't moved for a period of time. I'm not driving by them every day, but some of them, you see weeds growing up around them in ways that make it suspicious that they haven't moved. So, I mean, I think we need to address trailers as a whole. Some of them might be able to be addressed by this with where they're parked. Others, I mean, it's whether it's somebody's work trailer or their camper. I mean,
Well, it's a utility trailer, a closed van trailer,
Yeah,
Recreational.
recreational
yeah.
trailer.
It's not designed, the roads aren't designed for them to sit there and park on, especially some of the older roads that
They're narrow.
are narrower than, what, 38 feet, is that what the code is now? I mean, many of our older roads are narrower than that, so it's,
If you get over too far, you're down near the ditch. I mean, you can get on the pavement, but you know, I mean, that's just the way town's designed.
I got a camper, there's no way I was gonna park it on Mays Meadows. It was going in my back driveway or else, because, that road just is narrow.
I think maybe we should head forward with, get Cindy's take on the existing ordinance we have that says vehicles. And do we need to have a separate ordinance for trailers and specify all trailers and list them out? And, you know, I don't know, I mean, we need to have something that you don't have that's very enforceable, it's black and white. There's no gray, it's kind of like the chickens, you know, you got to wear.
Well, that great big one may get moved in the wintertime, right? The one that had the cover over it. The other one, I'd say it's sit there for,
I think it stays there all the time.
I think it stays there.
I think at the end of the day, you
Yeah,
need,
right south of the church, yeah, it stays there all the time.
It does.
I think the city just needs to have the stomach to move forward with,
Oh, I'm all for us moving
uh,
forward.
you know, clearing a lot, or clearing or forcing it to be done. Because that's what it comes down to, quite frankly. I mean, Monroe's paid how much in fines, and he doesn't care, just give you another $100 or something, but.
Yeah, it's been a lot. I mean, it's crazy to me. But it seems like he has been making some effort.
He has cleaned that line.
Quite a bit. But still got that trailer, it's,
Yeah.
it doesn't look functional at all, to me. But
Yeah, I mean, there's,
So it has a license plate on it that, as I understand it, you only have to pay a one-time fee and it never, you never have to
Probably
license.
permanent
What's that?
permanent tag.
Yeah, you
Yeah,
can
it's like
get
a
permanent.
Most trailers anymore, you get permanent tags on them, you never have to license them again, one-time licensing.
Yeah.
yeah. There's a fifth wheel down the street from where you used to live. At the end corner there, they got a fifth wheel on the side of the house. It's exactly how you would like to see a camper. It's either on gravel or concrete. They have it plugged in. The slides come out now and again. I mean, it's for sale now, but maybe that people, but that's what you would expect to see, somebody who's taking care of it, storing it.
And they used to have some there that in no way where it's situated on the property that obstructs the line of sight for motorists, right?
Yeah.
Turning or,
Those things, some of
on
them,
the corners, you can get a bind on the corner
Yeah.
pretty quick.
it's hard to see.
They're big, some of them are really
Yeah.
good.
So we have Cindy look at it, try and come back with
Yeah.
amended the ordinance some.
And
Yeah, I'd like to see
figuring out,
that.
are we gonna put teeth in it?
What about limiting it? We absolutely should. There's no need to do an ordinances unless you do.
Yeah.
I mean, we should, I have plenty of stomach, I think, to absolutely fulfill it. I mean, I agree with you 100%.
I mean, I think that ordinance there covers trailers.
Huh?
I think that ordinance there covers the
I mean,
trailers.
she may look at it, she may wanna change some wording and terminology and there be fine, I have no problem with it. Whatever she thinks, that's what we pay her for. So,
I think it is,
But this
too, 'cause
is
it
essentially.
It defines vehicles, anything's a vehicle.
Mhm.
I mean, I think that's what it boils down to.
Yeah.
That's where the enforcement.
what,
part-
have we ever determined, talking about trailers, let's talk about all of it, let's get to it.
Exactly.
Living in them, there's so many people living in these damn things.
I believe it was at the last meeting I attended, didn't Heather say that, I'm pretty sure it got narrowed down, and we looked at the ordinances, it said 7 days.
Yeah, well,
I don't think we had an ordinance that says, our thought was we should allow people,
Yeah.
like, if somebody's coming in and visiting their family and they pull up their camper and that's where they're staying for a week, plugged in, well, they, think of a graduation, you got 20 people coming to visit.
well, and it could be this way too, you could say that 72 hours is one thing. If it's gonna be more than 72 hours, which we could notice pretty easily, I think, just in traveling around, that they have to come to the city hall and make the city hall, so the police department's aware that they're gonna be here for 7 days, whatever it is, because they're visiting and they're traveling through the United States during the summer on vacation, I mean, or something, you know, I mean, that way you at least know, I mean, these other people will move out for a day and move back in for 7 days. Technically, so I wasn't here yesterday, so, but that's what you gotta eliminate, the ability for them to have a loophole in it.
Would it be just easy just to have them come in, fill out a permit, and this is the expiration on the permit, and,
Hang it like you do in the park,
yeah.
or something, I don't know,
And
maybe.
they shouldn't be parked on the street permanently. They're just,
No.
No, no,
Yeah,
no.
yeah.
But if they
no.
have something on there saying when the expiration is, then that gives them
I don't think they got anything
real
on.
ticket.
Well, I'm just saying, that would be for the ones that are using it as a travel trailer. If-
Oh, yeah.
That's what I
Yeah.
think she's talking about.
Yeah.
Those people that are out visiting
They're
or cruising.
visiting or whatever.
Yeah,
I thought we said you couldn't plug them into the houses for the fire's sake of it,
do what?
for the fire's sake of it.
There's nothing that says that today.
I thought that's what Spencer Cooper, or Simon Whistler, he was plugged into that shed over there, and we made him unplug it over there for fire safety. Didn't we?
And we also had that one that burned up on Jefferson Street because they couldn't take the juice.
Yeah, so I mean, I thought that's why we said you could not plug into the houses for that reason.
I don't remember seeing that, and I've looked, but I don't, doesn't mean I saw it
Well, it needs to be
outside.
addressed. If it is or isn't, you know. I think there's two things. You got these, the motor home or the trailers that people occupy for camping, traveling, that kind of thing. And then all other trailers in general, too, right? I mean, so you got both. And one can't permanently be parked on the right of way. That's what we need to have written up somewhere on it. So, like you say, they have the option to put it in the pad.
And then this gives us the way to address anything that's parked outside the right of way in streets or alleys and start working that. But then we do need to define what we're comfortable with for
I was
trailers
gonna say, is
in
that-
general.
Are we
This just
comfortable
says
with
motor
towing?
vehicles, so,
Are we comfortable with having them towed off? Absolutely. That's your teeth.
yeah.
That's your teeth. I mean,
There has
they
to
pull
be
it off after they have to pay, get it out of an impound lot. We get our money back. They're gonna pay us back plus whatever their daily charge is for sitting in the thing. Some of them, if they get towed off though, you might as well understand, they may not, they're not gonna come get them.
And they go in two parts.
What?
I go in two parts, go apart.
They may come apart in more than one piece.
Yeah. Any more discussion on that?
We're gonna have an ordinance on it, drafted on
Yeah,
Cindy's
I'll talk to
looking at-
Sydney.
Sydney, get working, you know, that's the plan, for to come back with that, and let's shoot next month, maybe to have that, where we can have it for discussion during this meeting, and then we can, actually have an ordinance on the books to look at the following Monday, the first Monday and the second Monday we meet of October, does that make sense?
Right.
Yeah, gives you some time, for some time to look at it. I think those are pretty easy ones to put some, to formulate and adjust and massage and get in place, right, so.
And I think that what Heather presented at a previous meeting was close. I think there were two samples she shared, if I'm remembering correctly.
I'll go back and find.
I think it was close at least. You know, we'd probably want to tweak it, make it more for us.
it. And how many times can you pull a permit? To stay?
That's a good question.
I mean, you're gonna have to have a number, because there's a guy that lives on North Allen, that's living in that hippie bus that comes and goes all the time. He was gone for 2 weeks and now he's back. He's been there for 3 weeks.
So many days within a time period. That's how some places do it.
Yeah,
You know, you could be there for 10 days in 90-day period, then that's it.
so
Consecutive.
two permits per year
And just,
or something, because somebody might come in there early spring, you
so
come
if
back
you
in the
came
fall,
for 5,
you know, to
then-
visit, but if you, otherwise, they're gonna, you're right. be one
Yeah, that
second.
guy's gonna pull a permit every time he can.
So we gotta put some brackets around it and say, okay, this is what's reasonable, you know, because we don't want our streets to be places where people are camping in their so hard-nosed that if somebody comes for graduation and then something else 2 months later, and they're here for 2 weeks in a 3-month period of time, that that's a problem. Finding that happy medium. It won't make everybody happy, but at least try to figure out what makes sense.
Maybe we could put in something in there that it can be, transitory type living, it's gotta be for recreation or something like that. We can check with it and see if we can put wording in there like that. That way, if the police department knows that someone's abusing it, they have power to say, no, you can't do this again.
Okay. Okay, so more discussion when we have a draft or some ideas to review again. Any other comments from citizens? Okay, so we'll move on to the police department. Activity reports in the packet. Chief, anything?
There's the traffic report in there, some of this, there's a big miles per hour in there, but like I said, that system's got maybe a little glitch in the software or something, they can't really fix that, so I wouldn't pay a whole lot of attention to that number, because I just don't think it's happening, but, I was asked by Tara that you guys might have questions about the letter I sent to you guys regarding recruiting and retaining people. If you guys had questions on that, I would field your questions. I sent that probably, before Heather left, so. At the time, she indicated that currently, there's room for basically what amounts to about 2%, maybe a little less, maybe a little bit more. Currently that and how that would look is moving everybody up a grade and leaving them in the same step. Now come October 1st, Columbia's pay goes up to around $25 an hour starting. Jeff City, I think, is somewhere in there. I don't think it's gonna be quite that high. Fulton's doing a pay study. Ashland, I haven't talked to Gabe exactly, and it wasn't on their website, so I don't have much information about them. But I know Fulton, like I said, is also experiencing heavy, I shouldn't say heavy, they've got openings and they've got 0 applicants. So what does that look like? I can tell you that most young people are not looking at the loggers program that we have, and they're not looking at a defined pension, and they probably won't even look at, how many holidays they get. They're looking at pay. And I've had a couple people say, well, if you could get your pay up, I'd entertain coming on over, but I just can't take that kind of cut. And so right now, I have, the newest starting officer was at $18.83 an hour. And, you may not always get the best applicants. As a matter of fact, I've gotten ones that I'm just like, no, just because I need somebody, I'm not just gonna hire somebody. And so I would like to get the best person we can get. And I hate to say Columbia this and Fulton that, but I would like us to do something that we come up with, not what is good other places, what can we do? And so, we're in a fix-it phase of Centralia Police Department, so it's only been 9-ish months, so we're continuing to try to do that, and this is one of the areas that still needs fixing.
I mean, if 1883, 2% increase is pretty small.
I agree.
One of the things I was at the MML session, oh golly, it was the final presentation. The ladies was presenting, I have to pull up my notes to get her name and her title, but she was, golly, I wish somebody I'm drawing a blank. She is with the government, and they do a lot of the wage information and publish how the wages have been going and stuff like that. And she talked about the wages have been up over 14% just in the last 3 years. So I remember the statistics. I don't remember the name or her title. But wages are up 14% over the last 3 years, and if we think about $19 to 25, and I don't think we can compete with Columbia.
No,
and I
absolutely
don't
not.
think we should necessarily
Right.
either. That's a 30.
And that's
call it
not,
a
and that's not
30%.
even including Boone County, which is right in the same park. You know, and we have a lot of time when we as administrators or city government talk about, well, what's so special about the police department? We got other city employees. I get that. But we're post-certified, we go through the background investigation, we gotta purchase the uniforms for them, some police departments are even, well, matter of fact, Columbia is sponsoring almost every one of theirs. By that, I mean they're paying $7,000 and salaries to send somebody to get post-certified. And, so, it's one of those things where a snapshot of the police department, an instant, you want the best person that you can have, because in an instant, they could be on the news. You could be the next Fox, story. And so, when you talk about wanting to get good people, you want people that are level-headed, who can, you know, talk to people without getting too angry, you know, those types of things. So, like I said, it's not a police department from 25 years ago hiring where you would have 400 or 500 applicants for 5 spots. It just does not exist. And we run an open style application process, which means you can put an application in anytime you want. They're just not happening. Now here recently, because of some of the people we have in the police department, they were able to talk to some other guys, and we got a girl that's, who's a full-time officer in Fulton, that's gonna come here and work part-time, so we'll have another part-timer. Got a guy that's, in Randolph County that is a captain, for a lack of a better title. He's thinking about coming over to work part-time. Now, could you steal one of those? Yeah, that's a possibility. But I would rather have 5 applicants to choose from instead of 0 applicants. And unfortunately, pay just comes down to being one of the main factors that they look at, especially if they're in their 20s. So
with your feedback, where do you think we need to be?
I thought, just from looking at, you know, kind of how some of these large municipalities have these surrounding agencies, if it was mine and we were gonna make it look okay, I'd say 21 to 22 bucks an hour. But part of the problem with that is you can't just bump up the starting pay, because then you've alienated all the people that work there.
You gotta
And
bump everybody.
I'm just telling you right
It's
now,
gotta be a wholesome.
Yeah, you gotta bump everybody.
what I'm saying is you just slide that rule. If it's $2, it's $2, boom. And then you get people, you can move them around. Now you can say, we've adjusted you, and for the next 1.5 years or 2 years, we may not see a raise, or it may be smaller than. But we have to at least get in the ballpark of what law enforcement is doing. And I'm not saying that would fix all the problems, but I'm telling you, it might open at least one more avenue, or be able to pull some people already post-certified and experienced over.
Help you attract quality
Yeah,
candidates.
yeah, absolutely. I mean, Centralia has a decent insurance program. I mean, when I moved up here, I saved about $800 a month doing that. So that's one avenue. Another thing we might look at, and it's just something that wouldn't be a requirement, but if we had like a 457 program, and I know Tara said we've got something like that, but a 457A or a 401A or something like that, we just say, you can have access to this, it could be a payroll deduction or something, but, you know, we don't even have shift differential here. So, I mean, I would say all the other agencies have shift differential. That starts at like 6 o'clock in the evening and runs till 6 o'clock in the morning. That's something you could look at. So it's just little things that would make it bullet point application on the internet or whatever. And they can go, oh, I could, you know, maybe I know somebody there, those look good, or whatever. A little bit of window dressing and some, you know, some forward thinking down the road.
We got one more 5% bump, and that goes in April, right?
Tara, can you look at the budget and see what you think we could possibly do?
Mhm. I can tell you that, the legwork that Heather did on this before, so for the rest of the year, if we did the 2%, we don't have a school resource officer anymore. There's still that money in the budget that would take care of that for the 2%. Next year, though, that, a 2%, and that's not talking about, you know, the other numbers, would be about $18,000 to $20,000 is what we look at for the year. 18,000 to 20,000 that the budget would have to absorb.
So about
For
10,000 a
2%,
point.
for 2%?
For 2%, yeah, 10,000 a point,
And we got 5% already in the budget for next year.
correct.
The 250 gets us into mid-21s, another mid-21s. That's 13 points. We got 5 in the budget already for next year. Sounds like we could come up with another 2,
Mhm.
but we wanted to get there. I mean, that's still another 8,
6%.
or, yeah, 6 points that we'd have to come up with to get above 21 to attract police officers.
And Harlan and I
Columbia's
have,
25.
Harlan and I have sat down, and we've talked, and we're gonna be learning the budget and seeing where we've got money in the police budget to see what we can do. And also make, officers feel more valued, get some better equipment in the
I think that's what
better
we need,
chairs.
otherwise we're just kinda shooting in the dark.
Yeah. Yeah, so it sounds like we need 60 to 80 grand or something like that.
I'd like to explore that over shift differential though.
Yeah, I think that's a great idea.
Yeah. Most factories do it and stuff like that,
Mhm.
so I mean, it's common practice. I mean, and that should be, I mean, not that we have multi-shift operations in our other departments, but that should be a blanket thing. If we were to ever have a second or third shift in another department, they should automatically have a shift differential.
I agree with you.
You had asked about speed of that trailer. So, now this has been about a month ago, so forgive me if I get a little bit of this wrong, but in a school zone, it's 20 miles an hour, right? Anything outside of that should be defined, or it's 20 miles an hour when the lights are on. The only funny street that is affected on, and it's because it's downtown, is Jefferson by the middle school. That's always gonna be 20 miles an hour because it's in downtown. The street is
Yeah,
considered
that's
the,
true, yeah.
it's considered that east road.
Mhm.
So if it's not clearly marked or the lights are on, it's 20 miles an hour. That's,
And that's school zone.
and that's always gonna be 20.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying,
Yeah.
it's not a school zone, Dick, when it's
I'll say
a
that.
downtown.
Well, but see, on South Columbia over there, it had, the trailer had, that the speed limit was 25.
Gotcha.
And I asked Harlan about it because I thought it was 20 all the time. Or when the lights are flashing,
Right.
it was a higher fee or fine.
I can't find a place where it says school zone is an increased fee. I'd have to do
That's
some more.
what, I know we talked about that.
And it very well could be at a,
I think we talked about it.
At a
and we didn't
municipal
think
level,
about that.
maybe?
I thought we did, I thought we had an ordinance on it.
I thought when we changed all the speed limits a
Well-
year or two ago, whenever that was, that, but maybe not. I mean,
Because
because
if
there
the
was
lights-
so much
If the
talk.
lights were flashing, the fine was higher. That's why we put them lights on the timer, because it's 25 if the lights aren't flashing except on Jefferson. And then if they're flashing, the fine is higher.
well, in kind of reading that other ordinance, if you go back and read that, it's kind of wonky. You almost need to draw some lines down, says like, if this, then this. So I'll look at it again. I had it printed out and left it on my desk, but I'll do some more research on that. I'll try to tell you. I'll bring you a copy of it, or you can look it up either way, but it's a little weird.
We may have Sydney look at that one too.
Thank you, Harlan.
Okay. Any discussion at this point about the Humane Society and not taking cats as of January 1st?
So, I think we're gonna have some problems.
Huh.
So, in 21,
Don't
Total
get
cats
done.
impounded were 44. 21 were taken to the Humane Society. They only had 7 claimed. 8 escaped, 8 euthanized. Already in 22, they've already impounded 39 cats. 31 of them have been taken to the Humane Society. Only 1 was claimed, 1 escaped, and 6 were euthanized.
And if that trend continues, because that was through September 6th, we're gonna be looking at 45 we would want to take to be
Might be more than that.
It's a lot of cats.
Yeah.
So, Sandy did also send me some information, about a local lady in town that works with the Spay and Neuter Project in Columbia. So it costs us $20 to take a cat to the Humane Society. The Spay and Neuter Project in Columbia will spay or neuter a cat for $25.
And then we bring it back and release it.
Yeah, what do you do with it?
Well, that actually helps to lower your cat population when you have.
Well, I'm wondering what it would take.
Huh?
I mean, yeah, I see it lowers the cat population, but it doesn't get rid of our problem.
No.
It will in
In
about
the
10
long
years.
term.
It will-
Yeah,
it
10
will
years,
over time.
yeah.
It will
In the
over
long term,
time.
it does. They also, they spay neuter, they also do the rabies vaccination and an ear tip, so you can tell which cats have been taken care of. And you know that they can't, you especially want to hit up the male and female cats. But the females can have quite a few kittens, but, male cats can go out and affect several female cats. But if they're ear tipped, then you know that they aren't adding to the population. If they're not ear tipped, then Sandy can focus on those cats and get them out, get them to this lady who can take them off, get spayed and neutered. We're only paying $5 more per cat.
So Columbia takes them off our hands for X amount, we pay them to take the cat?
We pay them to spay and neuter, but I believe we would have to take the cat back.
Well, I'm talking about presently, what do we do? We
Yes.
take them over, you said 31 of them were,
Oh, yeah,
okay,
they're,
and that, so they euthanize them at some point?
Only 6.
Only 6 of them, so will they keep these others, they got them adopted out, didn't
They must have,
they?
yeah.
Yeah,
there's 31 taken.
but you got a heck of a
How
lot
much
more
they
people
charge
over there
to do
looking
that
for a
for a
cat.
cat?
Columbia,
25.
They decided what's the trade.
But
Right?
we're about to lose
Some
them.
shells are cheaper,
Yeah.
as Don said.
20.
Huh?
So I read one of the articles
Use that as
that
cash for 20.
was in the email that Sandy forwarded, it's in the packet here, I went and looked at it, and it does not fit with our statistics, because it says most cats are reclaimed by their owners. And our statistics show, one has been claimed by their owner this year, one of 39, so they were by far the
They're
majority.
just feral cats,
Yeah.
and nobody cares.
I'm sorry.
I mean, Sandy cares, and the people around them care.
I mean, people care, we don't
Let
want
Matthew
to
bring
use
his
more
dog
than
in, and they'll
animals.
take care of it.
Do what?
Let Matthew bring that one dog of his in, you won't have any cat trouble with it.
What about just adopting a policy that says any cat that we can't prove as an owner gets killed? Right here in town.
You will have a room full of concerned citizens.
Then they should take the cat.
They will. They'll get them spayed and neutered and they'll be out there at
Put
Stanton's.
a leash law on it.
I'm not, that doesn't bother me.
I'm not opposed to it, I've got a cat, I love my cat.
What if you
gotta be
did
responsible
a-
for these animals.
If it doesn't
So what if you
bother
found a farmer and took them to a farmer for barn cats? I mean, farmers are looking for barn cats every day.
Well, yeah, the farm relocation project,
I'm good with it.
that's the area farm relocation pick. I'm serious.
There's a house right out there on 151 that's looking for cats.
No.
Must be where Harlan lives, huh?
Adam's always looking to kill something.
Okay, we're going off the rails a little bit here.
I think in preparation of the Humane Society not taking cats, we need to look at passing some sort of an ordinances that we're not going to pick up cats anymore. I mean, obviously, if they're showing that they have rabies or something like that, and they're, you know, gonna harm. the
Then what are you gonna do with all these citizens coming in and complaining about?
I don't know, that's up to you guys.
Well, I
Tell
mean,
citizens do what they gotta do.
I mean, we could get them in contact with the Spay and Neuter Project,
it's on my
offer
property,
information.
That's exactly right.
That's why they have to be licensed. I mean,
sure.
if there's a license on the cat, you can,
I
if it's
don't
in a
know
live
what's,
trap, then you can call the owner and say, come get your animal.
we gotta figure something out.
I mean, if you don't pick them up or do something with them, it's gonna be bad.
You're gonna have to pick them up.
It's gonna be a mess.
You
They're
got,
gonna overpopulate the
Sandy, have
human
any
population.
Cat town.
I don't know.
4,200 humans, 9 million cats.
See, town takes on a total different.
I think she'll do whatever we,
Tell
whatever
her.
idea that we come up with that will be enforced.
Yeah.
This is one I think we probably need to doodle on a little bit.
That's
before
fine. Well, more discussion.
Because it would be interesting to see.
This might be one time, right, this is
She
the way
knows
I
better
get
than
to try
me
to
in
break,
all
and I
of this
guarantee you,
stuff.
they're gonna be.
She's actually, the skunk, there was a skunk in the trap last time, I've got no idea, it was quite, something was funny. Anyway, it doesn't matter, but
You get the stuff.
there's a lot more animals than just cats getting stuck in them
Go to
things.
sleep.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Bear-
So,
bear-
anything else for the police department?
Uh-oh.
I had a complaint, I meant to bring this up, a comment from citizens, but I forgot about it. About the trailer court across the tracks behind Stidham's. There's a couch and love seat
I
that's
actually
been
saw that.
sitting out there since December of last year. It looks like looks like there's 3 mechanic shops in the center of it.
So she probably needs to take a look at that.
We can.
I had the same thing from, Christmas.
So,
Actually, they brought it
And
up.
out of towner owns that, right? An out of towner owns that trailer.
Jeff
No,
Grimes
Jeff
owns
Grimes.
Jeff Grimes.
Jeff Grimes owns
Used
it.
to own the guard office, or run the guard office, or,
He sure
I don't
does,
know.
he lives in town.
He was right across the street from me.
He lives right across the street from Terry Mott.
Okay.
Okay. Anything else for the police department? Let's get moving at this point.
Nothing exciting, man.
Fire department?
Well, there's that cancer insurance thing.
I feel like this is the longest committee meeting you guys have had in a really long.
What about the little truck? Decide on it.
The what?
Little truck.
I'm still working on Chris, meeting with him, and they got the numbers, they're gonna let him put them all back to day one from the factory.
The pump.
Yeah. It's gonna be about a year-long thing, but maybe it gets fixed, so, it's running, so.
Hopefully that fixes it.
Be interesting. But other than that, it's fine, just run medical calls over.
Anything on your activity reports you want to point out? Normal or?
No, I mean, we try to have meetings, but we end up, every meeting we try, we have a medical call or a wreck to deal with, or. Down this lady said yesterday morning after Eric's off, she said, oh, we don't see you no more today, and 2 minutes later, it went off.
That jinx, she says, is in
You
there.
never say that stuff when you talk about it. Never.
No. Okay. So then we got the Cancer Award Program summary. Let's see, it was what? I read this, I don't remember where the cost summary was.
It's 3. Did I send you one that looks like this? It's got 3 bullet points. marked
Yeah,
out.
page 21 in the packet on the PDF copy. So year 1, Myrtle will reimburse 75%, year 2, 65, year 3, 50. And that's only if you do the $300,000 level, which is the highest
Yes.
level.
And this cancer coverage is $95 a year per firefighter, per volunteer firefighters. And Myrma's reimbursing those amounts, which would bring our cost down to $23.75 per firefighter for the first year. $33.25 for the second year and $47.50 for the
When
third
you say
year.
$23.75.
Yes.
Per firefighter per year. It's pretty,
So why are we doing this?
the federal government's backing
I
this.
didn't even realize that was a year.
Program.
I thought this was a monthly cost, and I'm sitting here going,
Yeah.
golly.
Yeah.
It would be great to do, but I'm sitting here going, it's a monthly cost, so no, yearly, no. Okay.
And it's really good programming, you read into it. They fought really hard to pull this together.
It is.
There's no fighting for it. If a firefighter gets a diagnosis, they get a payment
Yeah.
immediately.
So the $300,000 limit, the year 3 cost for a full, well, we're a part-time and voluntary, it's $133 a year per firefighter. How many firefighters do we have?
Right at 20.
20? So you're talking $2,700. I mean, that's a,
I'd say we probably ought to do that.
to me, it's a no-brainer.
I think it's a great option for
Absolutely.
volunteers.
You guys get exposed to who knows
All
what.
kinds of
every time you walk
chemicals,
in.
there's no question.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
okay. Anything else for the fire department?
We'll roll up next next October.
Mhm.
We'll plan on putting that on October. You can put it on,
I thought it was in.
is it in tonight or not?
Hmm?
It's not written up for tonight. is it?
It's not written up for
Oh,
tonight.
okay. Any other public safety? Emergency management, protective inspection? Moving on to economic development, there's a chamber report. Looks like 136 cars for the car show. There's an after hours, business after hours on the 29th from 5 to 6 at Ron's house.
You're gonna schedule that, 'cause I think in a year, I don't think. Everybody's gonna have one in.
Home Bank is gonna have one in December. Anchor City Cook-Off is October 7th and 8th. Read the details there, there's park board information. We had a conversation about that.
Not specifically about that, but October 5th is a National Night Out.
Thought it was the 4th.
Fourth.
It could be 4th.
Fourth, I think it's
Sorry.
It's the Tuesday of that.
Yeah, and so it's done a little different up here than I'm used to. The way that I understood that it was supposed to run was the neighborhoods would have their, like, you know, a street might have a gathering here or another street over here in the neighborhoods. And the police, you know, stop by those, not that the police department in the city was funding, you know,
The event.
an event, right? So, I don't know if moving forward that we might change some philosophy on that and let each neighborhood area conduct their own gathering, which is what it is, it's neighbors getting out and the police department going to the gathering.
Interacting with them in their
Yeah.
environment, in their area.
Yeah.
And all the lights are supposed to be like your outside door light, don't you, what's in your, is that part of the deal that everybody just during the night?
I think
Not all
it used
night.
to be,
I think years ago, we used to do it that way, didn't we?
I think so.
But, like I said, the city is absorbing some of that cost for banners and, you know, a couple other, things. So, I mean, it might be, I don't know what the community's reaction is gonna be to that, because in the past, the police department has contacted other agencies and other departments and said, hey, we're gonna be down here for 3 hours or whatever, and that's what Sergeant Stobie is doing this time, and it was just a little weird to me that we were doing it that way, but I'll do whatever the community or
That's how-
council wants.
That's how we've done it though for the last 2 or 3 years.
Because the fire department's been there a little
Yeah,
bit.
the
it's
ambulance
been
guys
there.
have come up, you know, and
I don't remember it being any way other than that.
that's really, I don't.
Years ago, it used to be if one person had it on the block
Yes.
and everybody gathered up.
Not since 2005.
Well, I'm not saying 2000.
But I accept
It's
that.
been a long time ago.
So it's set like that for this year, but, you know, if that's the way you don't wanna keep it, then we'll keep it that way. If they're gonna do something else and let the community be more involved with maybe their particular street.
Interesting idea.
Why don't you, why don't you think about it, you guys collaborate, and see if there's some options that we will.
Got many years to go, so we'll figure it out.
I don't know, like I said, we set up and shoot water out of the truck, stuff like that, so we're not gonna,
October?
Hell, you'll get with it, stay behind it.
I know you do.
Okay. There's a request from the park to close off the streets. If I remember correctly, that falls under the city administrator's authority.
Well, it was so many in some pretty major streets. I wanted to bring it to you guys. If we wanna close off all the streets all the way around,
So Pumpkin Fest?
so like Singleton from US Bank to Allen, they wanna close that down.
Just like Anchorfest, just the way I read it.
I believe it's gonna be just like Anchorfest.
85 vendors.
Oh,
It will probably bring quite a few people.
it's grown dramatically.
Yeah,
since we
last
started.
year's was amazing.
I think it'll be equally as well this year. I mean, it's very well attended.
So does the parks do the Pumpkin Fest, or is that the chamber that does Pumpkin Fest?
it's the parks.
Right.
That's also homecoming weekend, correct?
Is it?
The
haven't looked
10th?
at
I
that.
thought the
No, the
barbecue,
eighth.
barbecue,
Eighth is homecoming.
8th is homecoming.
This is the 15th, so.
Okay.
And that's-
barbecue's homecoming, I think.
Anybody have any objection?
Oh, sure.
I mean, it's great for the community.
You have a few that are gonna complain, but.
Just need a little warning ahead, you know.
Yeah.
Stay proud.
Sure, for you guys.
Yep, we can definitely get it posted.
Yeah. I don't hear any objection.
It's 10 to 4, so.
Yeah.
No big deal.
All right.
Then we got the library board. Meeting minutes are in there. 2 meetings, I think that was. Any discussion there? Don't see anything from the cemetery or the tree board. Then we got our financial statements. Anything you want to point out there, Kara?
So, I know you guys have been wanting to see a, more condensed version of what the budget looks like. Before Heather left, she did come up with a report, we didn't wanna just throw it in there this time. So, you've got what you usually get this month, and then next month it'll look, completely different, so if you guys just wanna let us know what you think about it next month. See if we need to tweak it, or if you like it, and we'll go from there. As far as the financials go, it's been a little bit of a busy month. Mary, can you remember anything that we need to point out in there? I think it's been business as usual for most of it.
We got the second
ARPA payment.
430,000,
Hallelujah.
and a little supplemental 4,300 perhaps. Huge expenditures out of the ordinary, nothing I can think of.
We should know about, we had put in an ARPA application for the lift station and sewer main lining. We should hear mid-October whether or not we'll be awarded with that. Or if we need to take any extra steps to do anything.
You heard anything about the sidewalk to the golf course, the park?
We received the agreement, and as soon as it is signed, completely executed, we will be able to, go out for RFQ.
Nice.
Good deal.
They called us and they asked about it, so we knew it was a pretty good thing you had extra money, so they basically updated your numbers, we got it in, and I knew that was probably this thing, but that's a good one for us, we should take it.
Mhm.
It's good. We need it on that side of them, they get it figured out, because that's growing that way. The mother couldn't turn back to that deal with someone else.
Any other general government? Any ayes, may or ayes? Motion to adjourn, a second, all in favor? Aye. Any opposed?
Was that a Magley or a Decker?